Hey guys, this is Jackson Coates and Maya Turner, and this is our presentation on Chapter 19, which is on fossil fuels and their sources, uses, and conservation. What are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are the remains of plants and animals decaying over time and are they're stored chemical energy that is then incorporated into fossil fuels. So that's how we get our oil, our coal, and our gas. Those are the top three fossil fuels that we use today in America, um, and all of North America actually. Probably known to supply over 80% of North America's energy, which is insane. Let's see here. The formation, extraction, use of fossil fuels. So how is it really forming, and how are we getting it from what, and what are we using it for? So let's see. Fossil fuels can be formed when organic material is broken down into an aerobic environment. Not any tree or animal could just die and decay into a fossil fuel over time. It has to do with the temperatures and pressure of the environment and time itself. So how long? I mean, it takes millions of years usually for these organisms to decay. Um, the more currently burned fossil fuels that we are using to power our homes, vehicles, and local factories are organisms that lived 100 to 500 million years ago, just to give you an idea. And to take it back to where you need an anaerobic environment. It has to be one that has little or no oxygen, actually. So such environments include the bottoms of lakes, swamps, and shallow seas. And over millions of years, organic matter that accumulates at the bottoms of these bodies of water may be converted into like crude oil, natural gas, or coal. It just depends on pretty much the environment that it starts out in and that it's sitting in over time. Let's see here. Energy and the sources we use. So here's a list of our most commonly used energy sources throughout Earth, all of Earth. But yeah, there are a wide variety of energy sources that humans use on a daily basis. Only the first four of these sources are considered non-renewable sources, meaning they cannot be reused or recycled in any way. Um, but what's so unfortunate about that is the fact that us humans like to use those top four the most. So it's going to have to come down to humans starting to use more renewable sources other than our top four non-renewable. And the rest that follow nuclear energy are known as renewable energy sources, which are the ones that we should probably be referring over to. And a fun fact is that a single gallon of oil contains as much energy as a person would spend in nearly 600 hours of human labor. And I read that from page 517 of our textbook, and I thought that was pretty insane. Just to give you an idea on how much we need these energy sources. Let's see, energy consumption, so how much we're using. I found this on the internet. This was from 1950 to 2018, so 78 years worth of energy consumption. And what I got from this is, I mean, crude oil, uh, thermal coal, and natural gas, they continue to account for the largest share of energy in the United States. And after reading that article, it said 79% of domestic production, 80% of consumption made up of fossil fuels. Um, that just shows or tells you how much more room there's left for further renewable penetration. Like why we really need to be taking care of not using our coal and gas and oil as much and start to really switch over to renewables. As you can see, the green line, the renewables are slightly increasing over the years. I mean, it's getting better, but we're gonna have to really push here if we don't want another. Well, I'll get to it next episode. But the fossil fuels uses, this is just some of the most commonly used, or not used, commonly activities, I guess you could say. Or this is just what we use them for the most, and I think what we consider probably most important. So yeah, each of these are powered by different fossil fuel types. You gotta cook food, heat homes, fire pottery, which is what I got a picture of right there, agriculture, power trains and ships, fuel cars, airplanes, and power factories as well. And not all of them are powered by one specific fossil fuel. Um, it's by the top three, I'm pretty sure. Each of them have their own mix of uses, and these are just some of the main uses of our fossil fuels and the ones that, yeah, we consider most important. Let's see. Uh, Energy distribution. Some regions of the globe have sustainable, um, or sorry, some regions of the globe have substantial reserves of coal, oil, and natural gas, whereas others have very few. The Middle East and Russia are rich in natural gas, so that's where most of the world gets their natural gas. Um, the United States possesses the most coal of any nation, and rates for consuming energy vary from place to place. People in wealthy, industrialized nations tend to consume the most energy per person. Industrializing nations devote more energy to substance activities than people in developing countries that rely on manual or animal energy. That's just the distribution throughout the globe. Peak oil. So this is pretty interesting. When peak oil is reached, this means that we have reached the ultimate limit of extraction for oil, and the demand is at its like all-time high. So you're out of oil, you've reached the peak. I mean, that doesn't mean it's never going to come back because obviously it does. Many experts believe that the United States will have a peak oil crisis soon due to the fact that we have used roughly half of Earth's conventional oil reserves, and that's pretty recent. That's in the last couple of years. It's usually difficult to predict the peak oil date due to the government and many companies that don't reveal their true data on oil reserves, which is common. I mean, they can do that, especially government. And many optimists believe that we will hopefully switch over to some other renewable source um, in time of another peak oil crisis, so we won't be doomed due to our other renewable sources of energy. Let's see. Depleting fossil fuels reserves. Um, Fossil fuels are non-renewable, so the total amount available on Earth declines as we use them. I mean, stuff's just not going to keep coming back and back and back someday. I mean, scientists and oil industry analysis calculated that we have already used up to 1.2 trillion barrels of oil and estimates that 1.2 trillion barrels of proven reserves remain. That's insane. Adding reserves of oil sands in Canada and Venezuela bring the remaining total to 1.7 trillion barrels. It's just like fun facts. And here are our sources. Thank you, and that's it.